Hey guys, welcome back to Tea with Bor. My name is Bor, and today we're brewing one of my all-time favorites, Silver Needle White Tea. In this episode, I'll briefly explain what is Silver Needle White Tea, then I'll show you how to brew it, and then finally, we'll do a taste test. Let's get right into it. So what is Silver Needle White Tea? Well, to begin with, it's a white tea, which means that it's been picked from the youngest leaves and buds, and that it's gone through almost no oxidation. Now, the silver needle part of the name is to describe how the tea actually looks. So I hope I'll be able to show you, but the tea itself is actually only composed of buds. And what makes these buds so interesting is that they have these little white hairs on them that make them kind of look silver. So the reason why buds are preferred over leaves is that buds inside of them actually contain many little small leaves. So when you brew the bud, it gives off way more flavor than just a leaf by itself. Silver needle white tea is also commonly referred to as Baihao Yinzhen, and like the sample I have over here, most of them come from the Fujian province of China. An interesting but slightly deceiving part about silver needle white tea is the way you brew it. Because everything's all hand-picked and really carefully processed and it's closer to the green tea, yellow tea, you would expect that it's also carefully brewed. But in fact, it's the opposite. People like to brew their silver needle white tea at about 100 degrees Celsius, if not very close to that. I've personally found that I like to brew my silver needle somewhere around 85 to 90 degrees Celsius, but today we'll experiment with all the temperatures. Before we do infusion number 1, we just want to smell our dry leaves and then do our quick rinse. With the smell of the leaves, there's a nice sweet cut grass, smoked paprika, and perhaps slightly minty smell. So now I'll do a quick rinse at about 75 degrees Celsius. Alright, our rinse is done. We will now brew our first infusion at 80 degrees Celsius for about 25 seconds. So, I actually want to brew the white tea slightly more, for a longer period of time than I brew most of my teas, because like I said, those buds that contain all those leaves inside, it takes a while for the water to get in, so that's why I'll be brewing this for about 25 seconds. Alright, let's show you guys infusion number 1. So, what I can tell right away is that the liquor is quite light in comparison to other teas, which is common for white tea. It's a very nice, light, perhaps slightly golden, yellow, translucent color. And you can actually tell there's all those little hairs are inside the tea. It gives it a slightly cloudy appearance, but that's actually a good thing. So now, let's give our lid a smell. I'm getting a nice, sweet, difficult to describe, but I'm actually getting some strange, I wasn't expecting this, a smoked paprika smell, which is very uncommon for the tea world, but it's very nice. And now the leaves themselves. I'm getting slightly, this has a lot more of those earthy, slightly dark, deep cut grass with some kind of a molasses sweetness in the background. So now let's pour our tea in. Just let that cool for a few seconds. We are ready to try infusion number 1. Delicious, delicate, smooth sweetness. For now, since I only brewed it at around 80 degrees, it's not too strong and it's still the first infusion. So for now, just a nice sweetness with perhaps a little bit of those grassy tones, but no bitterness at all. It is very, very nice. What I've noticed in the background, there's a little bit of this, I'd say a lingering hazelnut nutty taste at the end, so it's very, very nice. It starts off with this, like I said, smooth sweetness, and then it ends off with a nice creamy nuttiness at the end. Alright, so for infusion number 2, We're gonna increase the water temperature to 85 degrees Celsius, but we'll keep the brewing time to about 25 seconds. Okay, infusion number 2 is ready. Okay, so definitely a darker liquor. Still quite light for the tea world, but definitely darker than infusion number 1. Slightly more on that golden side. Okay, make sure that water's out. We can now smell our lid. There's now a nice, that sweetness it's still there, but it's transformed into a nice, I'd say, a tangerine, perhaps nectarine type sweetness. So very, very good. Now let's try the wet leaves. The wet leaves have this darker, almost pistachio sweetness that it's very, very soothing. It's very, very nice. Those grass tones are pretty much gone. It's now just a nice, I guess, a bit floral and nutty sweetness. So let's pour our liquor. And then just wait a few seconds for it to cool down. Okay. I'd say those delicious, creamy, nutty tones are a little bit more prominent this time, and a little bit less, definitely away from that the cut grass. Now it's a nice, sweet, sweet floral and nutty tones. It's very, very good. Yeah, very nice. It's still not as powerful as I'd like it to be. Perhaps I was wrong. Maybe I should brew a little bit higher, but we'll see the next time. I think I found a better way to describe the second infusion. It's kind of like that creaminess is actually more of a coconut type creaminess with slight vanilla to it. So still very, very good, but let's see if I can increase the flavor a little bit more. All right, so for our third infusion, we will increase the temperature to 90 degrees and increase the brewing time to 30 seconds. Let's see what happens. Infusion number 3. 90 degrees, 30 seconds is good to go. Okay, so it seems like the liquor is still getting a bit darker. It's quite close to infusion number 2, but definitely a bit more dark. Let's see if that reflects in the smell and the taste. Make sure that water's out. Give our lid a smell. Okay, the smell of the lid has been quite consistent, but I'd say maybe perhaps a little bit more floral, but it's quite similar to even the first and second infusion. Now let's try the wet leaves. Okay, nice dark, deep green, even actually woody tones at this point. So definitely those grassy tones are completely gone now, and it's definitely replaced with some nice not smoked wood yet, but just kind of fresh wood and slightly sweet smell. So now let's pour it into our glasses. The liquor is really, really beautiful. Nice. I hope the camera picks it up. It's really a golden color. I like it a lot. Okay, we're ready to try. Everything's just is more enhanced now. Everything is it first starts off with a nice smooth sweetness. I would compare it to perhaps a peach nectarine sweetness, and then it has that nice smooth end off with that coconut creaminess that it stays on your tongue. It's very, very, very nice. Just so so smooth and delicious. It starts off with this nice, delicate sweetness that then transforms into this like just creamy, nutty, just fantastic taste. It's amazing. White tea is incredible. And it's really not aggressive at all. I mean, we brewed it at about 90 degrees for, what, 30 seconds, a little bit more than that. And most teas at that point get a little bit aggressive, get strong, but white tea stays just, smooth, consistent, light. It's truly amazing. One thing I would mention though is that because white tea is a little bit more delicate, even when you brew it at higher temperatures, I wouldn't recommend that you drink it after a big meal or any sugary drinks, because you won't be able to taste it. It requires all your attention, and when you have an empty stomach or your mouth doesn't have any other flavors in it, it's really an amazing experience. Alright, so after 3 fantastic infusions, we still have to try 95 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius. So this one will be 95 degrees for about 30 to 35 seconds. Alright, 30 seconds have gone by. Let's see infusion number 4. Okay, color-wise, I personally can't tell the difference between 3 and 4, but let's see the taste and smell. So make sure all that water is out. Give it a little smell. Still, like I said, relatively the same, but I'd say I'm getting a little bit more of those woody tones in the smell of the lid. Now let's try the wet leaves themselves. In fact, the leaves have gone a bit sweeter, so kind of contrast. The lid got a little bit less sweet, more woody. The leaves a little bit less on that dark side, a little bit more on the sweet side. So let's see about the taste. Okay, let's give infusion number 4 a try. Okay, now we're getting a little bit more on the vegetable tones. Yeah, a little bit more vegetal. I'd say, what kind of vegetable could I compare this to? Perhaps slightly spinach, but a nice sweet spinach, and I feel like that creaminess isn't as strong. Yeah, I'm getting something that I'm finding it hard to describe, but I'd say it's close to a sweet kind of vegetable tone, and a little bit away from that that smooth creaminess that I had in the third infusion. So, so now that I think about it, those creamy, nutty, just smooth tones at the end, they're still there, but that nice, fresh sweetness at the start is a little bit gone for some reason. Not sure what I did wrong. Maybe I didn't brew for long enough. If you know in the comments, please let me know. But yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed by infusion number 4, but for infusion number 5, we'll increase the temperature to 100 degrees, and we'll increase the brewing time to about 45 to 50 seconds. Alright, about 50 seconds have gone by. Let's see infusion number 5. Okay, so I think this is a darker liquor, a little bit closer to that perhaps orange bronze color. Still very, very beautiful. Make sure all that water is out. And let's give our lid a smell. The smell on the lid is slightly faded, still kind of a sweet smell, but can't notice it too much. Now let's see the wet leaves. Okay, we're back on those slightly darker, maybe even a little bit spinach smell, but it's just pretty good. Now let's see what it tastes like. Okay. Alright, now I'm getting that increase in flavor in all aspects that I was expecting from the 95, but the 100 is very, very nice. That sweetness is a little bit stronger now. I'd say What do I compare this to? It's almost like almost actually maple syrup honey like sweetness now. And that creamy aftertaste is still there. I forgot to mention the liquor itself is actually quite thick. That lingering, that's usually what happens when you get that kind of lingering taste on your tongue. That's usually because the liquor is quite thick and creamy. So yeah, really good. Now it's really in some sense come alive in comparison to that fourth infusion. Sorry. Those nice sweet tones are really present at the start, and the end is a nice smooth creaminess at the end. And actually in the middle is this kind of interesting savoriness, and it's hard to explain. It's not salty or anything like that, but it's almost like after you've eaten some nice food with a lot of spices and stuff like that, you get this something in your mouth that it's just you can tell that you had something that has a lot of flavor, and it's very strong. So fantastic. Those are 5 infusions. What's even greater about white teas, you can actually keep going until your 12th, even 15th infusion. That's exactly what I'm going to do, but I won't bother you guys with that. If I had to pick a favorite infusion, it's in between 90 degrees or 100 degrees. Those were my 2 favorite, but it's all personal preference. So please try it yourself, see what you like the best, and feel free to leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.